Welcome back. It is time now for us to enter into the Ajna Chakra. The Ajna Chakra is located between the eyebrows. In Sanskrit, Ajna means will or order. The Ajna Chakra is known as the Master Chakra. It is locked by seriousness and ego. It is unlocked by innocence, simplicity and intelligence, and by shedding all forms of ego. The Ajna Chakra is known as the Chakra Raj, the master of all the chakras. This is such a significant chakra that there is no religion that has not worked on activating it. When the Ajna opens, the whole being enters into a different realm. A whole layer of faculties opens up. That is why all the Oriental gods are represented with a third eye in their forehead. The third eye is a symbol of the awakened Ajna. There is an old saying that if you die in Varanasi, a sacred city of India, you will automatically get liberated. Varanasi is not just the city as we know it. It is also the region where the Varana, that is the eyebrows, meet the Nasi, that is the nose, which is the exact location of the Ajna Chakra. It symbolically represents the death of the ego in the liberated or enlightened state. The Ajna Chakra is concerned with ego, with seriousness, with thinking too much about ourselves, and therefore taking life too seriously. What is seriousness? Seriousness is nothing but paying undue importance to something at the cost of everything else. It stems from the inability to see that all of life is just a drama that is unfolding every minute. Seriousness is the result of over-expectation from life. A small story. 2 boys were building sand castles on the beach. They suddenly had a quarrel, and one of the boys got angry and kicked the sand castle. The other boy went and complained to the king about a serious problem. The king began to laugh at him for making so much out of just sand castles. But the king's advisor, a Zen monk, he started laughing at the king. He asked the king, "When you can fight battles and lose sleep over stone castles, why do you laugh at these boys for fighting over sand castles?" All our seriousness is just about sand castles. Understand that. For the child, at that young age, sand castles seem precious, whereas for us at our age, stone castles seem precious, that's all. Whether it is a sand castle or stone castle, the seriousness behind it is the same. Just the object of seriousness is different. So don't laugh when children fight over sand castles. Seriousness closes your mind to the openness and freedom of life. It makes you dull and dead. It curbs your thinking and makes you stick to the familiar patterns that you know all the time. In a Zen monastery, there was a competition among disciples on who had the best garden. One disciple was a very serious sort. He took the competition also very seriously. He kept his garden neat and clean and well swept. All the grass was of the same height. All the bushes were neatly trimmed. He was sure that he would get the first prize. On the day of the competition, the master went round all the gardens. Then he came back and he ranked the gardens. This disciple's garden got the lowest ranking. Everyone was shocked. The disciple went and questioned the master about it. He asked, "Master, what is wrong with my garden? Why did you rank me the lowest?" The master looked at him and said, "Where are all the dead leaves? A garden maintained in such a way is no longer alive, it is dead. Seriousness kills spontaneity. It destroys creativity. Science has proved that when you perform a task in a relaxed and light manner, your thinking and decision-making capacity is automatically enhanced. The same task, when performed in a serious manner, dulls your mind. I tell you, all our seriousness is just sickness. When I say all, I mean all. And all our sickness originates from seriousness. Seriousness begets sickness, and sickness begets seriousness. One night, a man called me on the phone and started crying. He said, "I fall at your feet, Swamiji. Please help me. I'm so depressed. I'm going to end my life." And so on. I tried to calm him down and finally said, "Why don't you come to the ashram tomorrow morning and spend a few days with me? Let us see what can be done." He replied, "Tomorrow, Swamiji? Oh, tomorrow I have to go to office. Shall I come next weekend?" So most of us are like this, getting unnecessarily tense about our so-called problems. Just one jolt is enough and our seriousness will drop. When we wake up to reality, we see how insignificant our problems really are. When you do something too seriously, when you're too concerned about the result, you are actually not allowing yourself to perform at the optimum level. Of course, you need to make plans, you need to think ahead, but do it with sincerity, not with seriousness. Seriousness is not the same as sincerity. Sincerity is focusing on the task with enthusiasm and youthfulness. Sincerity is giving the task your best without worrying excessively about the result. When you are serious, you don't enjoy, you don't laugh. How can you laugh when you are serious? They are mutually exclusive. Either you are serious or you are laughing. You can't be both at the same time because the very definition of seriousness is such. But when you are sincere, you can be laughing and playful. You can continue to do the job on hand in a playful and creative way, and the job will get done in a joyful fashion. And because you have finished the job, you have been sincere. With sincerity, there is no worry, there is only enthusiasm. When you are serious, you are being egoistic because you fail to see that the whole thing is only a cosmic drama. You feel too much as a separate entity, too much of I, and so you become serious. If you understand that the whole thing is only a drama, you can never be serious. When this understanding happens at a deep level, you will simply do things with the sheer joy of moving in tune with the cosmic drama or existence. And when you do it this way, you are not serious. You are just sincere in playing your part, that's all. You see, there are two things: chronological planning and psychological planning. Chronological planning is planning on the time scale. You decide, you will get up at such and such a time, finish your morning routine by a particular time, reach office at a particular time, and get certain tasks done that day at the office. That is perfectly all right. It is a practical way to organize your work in a way that can give the best results. This kind of planning with sincere action will take you from happiness to more happiness. Psychological planning, on the other hand, is planning in your head with no relevance to time or space. It is just a constant serious planning going on in your head over and above the chronological planning. It keeps you thinking that you are serious and dutiful. It is actually nothing but complex negativity being applied to the chronological planning that has been already done. You keep analyzing your plan and getting into a dull state because all your energy is going in analyzing the plan again and again. Psychological planning boosts your ego. It makes you feel great and worthy. It helps you to stay serious. It makes you feel that you're handling things of a great magnitude. It makes you feel that it is wholly in your hands to worry about it and make it happen. You keep hankering after every small thing that needs to get done and feel that your happiness lies in getting that done. This is psychological planning. I tell you, this is actually a way of postponing happiness, of postponing life, waiting for something particular to happen to start enjoying life. We always think, if I get married, my life will be settled. So let me work towards getting married. If I have 2 children, my life will be fulfilled. Once I retire, I'll be peaceful. It is the attitude, now I'll be serious, later I'll be happy. In the end, you will be happy neither now nor then. You will lose your capacity to be happy at any time. Just live with simplicity, with spontaneity, with innocence. Don't harp too much on perfectionism. I tell you, perfectionism can make you neurotic. Whatever you do, do it wholly, totally. Then automatically, whatever you do will be total, and you don't have to worry about perfectionism at all. Perfectionism is always something from your mind. It becomes a goal for you. You work towards it as a goal. And when you work towards it as a goal, it becomes dead and mundane. But when you are total, you are established in your heart, and it becomes a deep experience. The outcome then has to be beautiful, and it will give you joy also. Then whatever you do, you will be in tune with existence. Perfectionism never gives you joy. It only fulfills your ego. Even if you feel fulfilled at the end of it, it is only a fulfillment of your ego, never a fulfillment of your being. Be very clear, perfectionists are the biggest egoists. They miss the dimension of being total. And know one thing, totality is possible when you enter into it deeply. Perfectionism is never possible because it is in your mind, and your mind keeps changing its definition of perfection. Have the courage to make mistakes. Serious people are always afraid to make mistakes. They take themselves too seriously. They think too much about themselves. It is too much to make mistakes and have someone point it out to them. Actually, I tell you, these people who are afraid of making small mistakes end up making the biggest blunders. What is wrong in making mistakes? You will say, Swamiji, I can't afford to make mistakes in my work. That's why I'm so serious. What you say might be true. Your work may not permit you to make mistakes. But that is not the point I'm trying to make here. When you make a mistake, people will point it out and you will not be able to bear it. Your ego is bound to get hurt, and you are very sensitive to this. You know this. So to avoid getting your ego hurt, you try your best not to make mistakes. You plan so unconsciously and continuously to keep guarding your ego. But the reasons you give are all different. It is not that you are lying. No. It is just that you are not aware of the subtle way in which your system works, your ego works. But if you deeply analyze and see, you will understand what I am saying. There is nothing wrong in making mistakes. In fact, by making a few mistakes, you come to know clearly how to avoid making mistakes because you have experientially understood it. The more you learn from mistakes, the more you know about how not to make mistakes. Knowing how not to make mistakes is a very important thing. Only then you have seen both sides of it. Only then you have explored the two sides experientially. Else, There is always the danger of falling into the unknown side at a critical time when you really can't afford to. Only one thing, don't make the same mistake again. Your mind always repeats patterns. Don't do it with mistakes also. Make new mistakes and move on to better and better understanding. I am not saying to deliberately make mistakes. That is foolishness again. I am only saying, do things to the best of your intelligence and enthusiasm, but without worrying about whether it might be a mistake. The moment you are worried that it might be a mistake, you are worried about your ego getting hurt. When you are not so concerned about your ego getting hurt, you'll have the courage to take any jump. All your so-called worry is actually about your ego getting hurt. When you are free from it, you will act with more freedom and courage. You'll be more willing to explore. A small story. In a clubhouse, one man had finished his round of playing cards and was leaving. He went to the coat stand and was putting on his coat when suddenly a meek voice spoke behind him. "Sir, but are you Mr. Philip?" The man turned round and replied, "No, I am not." The voice said, "Thank God, I am Philip, and that coat is mine." We are so afraid that we might make a mistake and hurt ourselves, our ego. So we work with such cordiality and seriousness, thinking that we are humble and whatnot. These are nothing but passive forms of ego. You are so terrified of your ego getting hurt, and so you behave in these ways. Drop all your guard of your ego and move about freely. Move away from seriousness. Somehow, we always associate spirituality with seriousness. It is a big conception. Seriousness can never be religion or spirituality. Why do you think I keep telling you so many jokes and small stories? If I don't tell you all these things, you will start becoming very serious. And when you become serious, you become dead and heavy. You will not be alive and light. I am not here to make you heavy. I am here to unload you and make you light. I am here to show you that seriousness is nothing but a form of your ego. I am here to show you what you are not. I am not here to reinforce what you already think you are. People who are loaded with the past and the future are always serious. They don't know how to laugh spontaneously. They feel that it is their duty to shoulder the past and future and be immersed in it in all seriousness. This is a very highly egoistic attitude. They feel that if they don't do it, there is no one to do it for them. First of all, there is no need to shoulder the past and future. Just be in the present, that is enough. These people are completely missing the present. They are completely missing the laughter in their lives. Laughter is that which brings in a ray of energy from your being to your body. It totally rejuvenates your whole self. It can heal like nothing else can. It gives you such wonderful glimpses of the present, which you try to achieve through other difficult meditation techniques. Laughter is the most powerful meditation technique. Laughter is the greatest spiritual quality. Sincerity and laughter always go together. As I said earlier, seriousness can never coexist with laughter. Either you are serious or you are laughing. When you are sincere, you can laugh and do your duty sincerely. How many of us can laugh with all our heart? Even in laughter we manage restraint. The so-called social etiquette has taught you to laugh in a polite way. When kids laugh, we condition them. We are like a spray of cold water on their natural ways. We immediately tell them that they have had enough. We try to condition even their laughter. I have heard mothers telling their daughters, "Don't laugh like a man, laugh like a lady." How can you culture laughter? Laughter is something that comes from your being. I tell you, all your conditioning of your children is just to make replicas of your own dull and dead self. Till you replicate yourself completely, you will not rest. I spent some time with a few children in my visit to America this year. I spent about an hour interacting with them. I was so shocked when I saw that they simply did not laugh, however much I tried joking with them. Children these days take on pseudo-maturity and manage to exclude laughter from their system. If they cannot laugh as kids, what will they do when they grow up? It was too much for me. People tell me that my laughter is infectious. With those kids, for the first time, my laughter seemed non-infectious. They were just looking at me with the same mature look on their faces. I left them afraid that they might make me serious. You see, maturity does not have anything to do with excluding laughter, but somehow we feel that when we are mature, we should automatically laugh less. Laughter is such strength because it brings in energy from your core to your periphery. If you sit in on my sessions, most of the time there will only be laughter. Some joke will be cracked or some story will be told and everyone will be laughing. I never allow seriousness to set in. Even with people who do my work in the ashram, I never allow seriousness to set in them. A small story. A very humorous speaker was invited to a town to deliver a speech. He came to the program with a big group of people. The organizers were surprised when they saw the number of people with the speaker. The speaker saw their surprised look and explained, "It is becoming difficult to get people to laugh these days, so I carry my own audience. In the so-called elite circles, people will be laughing, but in a very cultured and well-mannered way. This is not real laughter. This is dead laughter. Laughter can never be conditioned. If it is conditioned, it is not laughter. It is not the meditative laughter that we are talking about. It is simply an expression of the ego inside, that's all." If you analyze why you laugh when a joke is cracked, you will understand. A set of logically connected statements is first told to you. When you're clinging on to the logic that has been created, the punchline is delivered and your logic is shattered. At that moment when your logic is shattered, your thinking, your mind is also shattered and you are in a state of no mind or satori. You are Buddha. When you are in no mind, you are in the present. When you laugh, you are in the present, because when you laugh, there can be no thoughts. When you are thoughtless, you are in the present. And when you are with thoughts, you are either in the past or in the future. Laughter is total and it can simply heal and transform you. It is the best and easily available medicine for humanity. I tell you, life is so precious that it is not worth spending it on dull and lethargic moments. Laugh and infuse your life with energy and bliss. Just decide to enjoy continuously, whatever may be the job you are doing. Be sincere, not serious. When you laugh, you radiate energy around you. It is infectious. You radiate a therapeutic bliss around you. This is also why when a person in a bad mood walks in, he radiates the same mood around him, and there is every chance that the people around him are affected by it. I always tell doctors to do some kind of cleansing meditation because they are continuously in touch with patients who come to them with a lot of negative thoughts and diseases. Yes, you have a question? Swamiji, but we need a reason to laugh. How can we simply decide to be humorous when we don't find anything humorous? We always think that we need a comedian or a joke to make us laugh. I tell you, when you start living in the present moment, your very existence will be beautiful and light. Your inhalation and exhalation of breath, the process of breath getting converted to blood in your body, the synchronous happenings of events in existence, everything will be so beautiful. You will feel so much bliss, and you will ever be smiling and laughing. Your whole being will exude laughter and bliss. Laughing at a joke is all right, but when you fall in tune with existence, you simply enjoy the big cosmic drama that is happening and you laugh at everything. Then there is no place for seriousness, no place for ego. You are no more solid. You are porous and you simply laugh. You develop a deep understanding of the existential game and you laugh. You are able to see that everyone is only a player but has become so serious with his role and you laugh at that. You laugh at how each one is deceiving the other when playing the game. You laugh at the thought that you are playing a game. When you are able to laugh, you have become the watcher. And when you have become the watcher, you are separate from the I and mine, the ego. A small story. Once there was a conference of Buddhist monks on the meaning of true spirituality. Each monk went on the stage and gave long speeches. Finally, it was the turn of a Zen monk to speak. He went on the stage and simply started laughing. He laughed and laughed and laughed from his being. The laughter just rose from his belly. He started shaking uncontrollably with laughter. And his laughter was so infectious that soon all the others in the room started laughing without even knowing why. Without their even being aware of it, the laughter of all the monks produced a huge wave of positive energy in the room. The monks reached a state of tremendous elevation. Their thinking was shattered and their being was filled with bliss. The Zen monk finally spoke. This is true spirituality. Laughter is the highest spiritual quality. It can lead you to enlightenment. Laughing is a great healing energy. If you laugh at your sickness, you will become healthy. Laughter is a beautiful way of connecting with the energy of existence, which is pure healing energy. In our meditation programs, we always include laughter and dance. They are the easiest ways to become a Buddha. Dance can make you simple and light. Dance, like laughter, is another easy and enjoyable meditation. When you dance without a care, you become the dance itself. Energy will then gush from you. You can dance without a care only if you are free from all your pseudo-identities. As long as you think you are someone, you can't dance in joy. Dance is an outward expression of inner joy. And here I am not talking about programmed dance, where you know which step is going to come next. I am talking about letting go of your so-called identities and feeling the oneness with existence and dancing with that joy. The self-conscious ones are the egoistic ones. They are so bothered about what others will say about their dance, and so they sit quietly. Again, they are only guarding their ego and they are missing the joy of life like anything. Once in a while at least, in your home, play some music and dance. Simply decide to let go. It can become an intense meditation that can take you beyond your mind and transform you in a way that words can't. Be natural, be original. The people who comment on your dance are simply missing out on the joy of dance. Don't bother about them. Just dissolve and become the dance itself. Laughter and dance are the easiest techniques to shed your ego and merge with existence. Yes, what is your question? Swamiji, when do we know that our ego is no more? Simply put, when you no longer feel yourself as a separate entity, ego has dissolved. When you become enlightened, your ego has ripened and ruptured. When your ego drops, the barriers you posed earlier will disappear and existence will simply flow through you freely. Whether you know it or not, accept it or not, like it or not, existence is trying to flow through you every minute. But you are so full of ego that you are unable to receive it. You miss the miracles of existence because of your ego. You are unable to connect to existence, and so you continue to live in ego, ignorance, and misery. You are so full of ego that you are living far away from your own being. There is so much of accumulated stuff inside you that you need to get rid of. The stuff that you have accumulated over many lives, not just this one life. There is no space for even yourself inside yourself. And because of this, you are operating from your periphery all the time instead of from your own inner being. When your ego dissolves, you cease to exist and you simply merge with existence. This is the state of enlightened masters. I often tell people, destroy what you are not. People look at me with shock. When I say this, what I mean is, you are your inner being. That being is now contaminated with all that is not, the various active and passive forms of ego. These are what you need to destroy, and that is what I mean when I say, destroy what you are not and you have arrived. You are a part of existence, and whatever causes you to think otherwise is ego. That's all. It is like this. A fish, whether it likes it or not, whether it accepts it or not, whether it believes it or not, is a part of the ocean. It has two choices. It either lives happily in the ocean or fights with the ocean and still continues to live in it, making its own life miserable. If you flow with existence, you will enjoy every moment of your life. You will become porous, sensitive, creative, and fluid. A small story. A teacher took her students out for a picnic. They played games, ate their snacks, and enjoyed themselves. Suddenly, the teacher drew their attention to a beautiful rainbow that had formed in the sky. The children looked up at it with awe. The teacher watched them and announced, "All right now, let us give a clap to the artist behind it." The students were for a moment confused, but quickly understood and broke into applause. Children need to be taught to appreciate the existential beauty surrounding them. Else they will lose the connection with existence very quickly and become egoistic. They should not be allowed to become mechanical and egoistic. They should be brought to become porous and sensitive. When you appreciate existence, you have come closer to it. The whole of existence is creativity. A creative person is closer to his heart than his mind. When you create, you are close to God. God is the creator, the created, and the creation. When you create, you express your being, the quality of existence. When you create, you are showing your love and appreciation towards existence. You are adding a little more beauty to existence. When you are full of wonder for existence, you can create. On the other hand, when you are full of ego, you cannot create. And even if you create, your creation will be a dead creation. It will be like a plastic rose which looks perfect but lacks the fragrance and life. When an artist creates out of love, he can give a certain special quality to the creation. If he creates out of ego, the creation is lifeless. When you are not in tune with existence, you will miss the fragrance of existence. It is as if when a beautiful fragrance surrounds you, you are closing your nose with stinking fingers. This is ego. When you experience the fragrance of existence, you will start experiencing the synchronicity of it also. You will be able to resonate with the whole of existence. You will be able to see that every single leaf and twig is a manifestation of existence or God. When you are in this state, whatever you seek, you will find, because you are moving in tune with existence. Life then becomes a miracle. This is what we call the synchronicity of existence. And understand one thing, when you are resonating with existence, you will not seek greedily. Simply existence will keep giving you what you need for that moment, even before you seek it. This is what I mean when I say, whatever you seek, you will find. The problem is, we have distanced ourselves so much from existence, from our source, which lies deep within us. So we need constant reminders about it. You can start shedding your ego by first admiring and appreciating the beauty surrounding you. That itself will start sowing the seed of transformation in you. It will cause you to understand that there is a life force mightier than your ego which is conducting this universe. The more you lose yourself to existence, the more egoless you become. The more egoless you become, the more you lose yourself to existence. Swamiji, although we know at the intellectual level that we need to surrender our ego, we are unable to. Why is that? You see, man never wants to let go in totality. He wants to cling on to something all the time, and that something is his ego. Your ego is your very strength. You have guarded it so well over the years. It is the basis of your very existence. You don't know that there is a world beyond your ego which is much more blissful than what you are feeling now. Your ego is a life-sustaining element for you. But the simple truth is, you have to let go of it. It is like this. Imagine that there is a seed that is sown. The seed has to rupture for the tree to grow, is it not? If the seed thinks that it will wait for the tree to grow and then rupture, is it possible? No. Just like that, man's ego has to rupture for him to blossom. The longer he guards his ego, the more he is postponing his own flowering, that's all. Until man meets his master, he might not even know where his blockages are, where his ego is standing in the way. But once he meets his master, he has found the key. It is up to him to use it. The master's sole purpose is to rip the ego of each of his disciples. The words and actions of a master will seem abrupt and inappropriate when you see it from outside. but it is pregnant with the truth. It is pregnant with the single intention of destroying your ego. A master himself descends out of sheer compassion for mankind. He has no vested interest in anything or anybody. He is beyond the treacherous ocean of desire. He is here simply to lift you to the state he is in, the state of eternal bliss, the state where only consciousness exists without the I. In the Chandi recitation, which is a recitation of 700 Sanskrit verses on Devi, the female energy, it talks about how Chandi Devi kills the various evil demons. It is not that she killed real humans. If she had killed real humans, she would have been behind bars, and we would not be worshipping her through the recital. The demons symbolically represent the various kinds of evils or ego inside man. And it is this ego that is slain by Devi to liberate man from them. We have to understand that. One of the demons is a buffalo-headed demon. This is to make us understand that some of us are so thick-skinned that how many ever times the Master awakens us to his path, we firmly stick to our path. We are not porous and sensitive to the Master's call. You see, arguing with the Master is the greatest punishment that you can give yourself. I tell you honestly, when you are caught in arguing with the Master, no one can do anything or more harm to you. You harm yourself enough when you argue with the Master. The Master knows how to make each one flower in his or her own way, and the least that one can do is to open out to him with faith and courage. Yes, Swamiji, although I know that you are my Master, I feel hesitant and scared in your presence. The very fact that you have come out with this statement means that you want to overcome the state of yours. You have decided to take the leap. Let me explain. Your being has clearly identified me, but your mind is fighting. If your being has not identified me, you will not keep coming to me again and again. You face a lot of trouble at home for coming here, is it not? The easiest thing for you to do is stay at home and do your work. That would have made your family happy, is it not? Why is it that you again and again want to come to the ashram and see me? Why do you want to again and again face the arguments at home for having come to me? Is it not easier to just stay at home and make the others happy? The reason is, the pull that you feel is at the being level. It will not allow you to go back once it has recognized me. Try as you might, you can't escape. Your being now knows me, but your mind seems to be the hindrance. Remember, always follow your heart. That's exactly what you need to do here. When you follow your heart, you will reach me. When you follow your mind, you will keep missing me. You are so afraid of losing yourself to me. That is the whole problem. Your ego comes under threat. You feel insecure about your very identity. You feel your identity is dissolving. You start wondering where you are heading without an identity for yourself. Your ego faces a grave crisis. When this happens, like in all other situations in life, the ego immediately demands its food. And in this case, you are unable to fulfill it. So you start doubting me. You start reasoning out your feelings in so many ways. You start working out that which is whole and cannot be worked out. Your mind sways like the elephant's trunk from one side of intense love for me to the other side of intense doubt of that love. Remember, love is from your heart, while fear is from your mind. Always, always follow your heart. Love is natural, but fear is societal. Fear and doubt are deeply related and are mere conditionings that have gone into you. Understand very clearly, there is nothing wrong in doubting. Doubt is your torch to enlightenment. It is very difficult for your mind to proceed without doubts. But your doubts should be ultimately transformed to trust. Only then you are progressing. As you move inwards, this will happen. Swamiji, but what do we need to do for this? Just fall totally in love, that's all. Falling totally in love is falling totally into the egoless state. That is why a master who is in an egoless state is capable of only love and compassion. All other emotions like anger, irritation, etc. are pseudo-manifestations of his infinite love. He pretends to be angry and irritated. He comes down to your level, emotes at your level and takes you through one more phase of understanding, that's all. He talks in your language until you understand his language, the language of existence. Yes, but Swamiji, how do we start falling in love totally? It seems like it is easier said than done. The first thing, flood awareness into every action of yours. Become the watcher. You will start feeling that the whole thing is a drama and you are only watching it while playing a role yourself incidentally. Second thing, stop being judgmental about everything you see. When you stop being judgmental, you will simply love everyone and everything with total innocence. When you are judgmental, you don't see what is. You see what you want to see. Most of us have already formed our judgments in advance. They are the foundation stones for us. Then we simply act keeping them as a solid base. Anything we see, the first thing we do is view it with our preconceived judgments. If we act in this fashion, how do we see things as they are? How will you ever fall in love? You can fall in love only if you welcome everything with a freshness, with a certain innocence. But what do? You start analyzing the pros and cons for even loving. When you start analyzing, you miss it. When you finally decide to do it, it may be too late. See, the master-disciple relationship is there only for you to lose your ego. When you are alone, you cannot lose your ego. The master becomes the device, the support for you to lose your ego. The more you dissolve into him, the more you will be ready to open up and lose your ego. When do you know that your ego is dissolving? When you start experiencing a certain joy that you have not experienced before. You will start feeling joy for no reason at all. Just existing will make you happy. Of course, with the master you are always undergoing a surgery of your ego, and there will be moments of deep misery as your ego is getting slashed. But when you emerge out of those moments, you would have taken many steps forward in your growth, and you will feel boundless joy for no reason at all. Just look at young children. They are so enthusiastic towards life. They are so loving. Have you ever wondered why you are not so enthusiastic as them? You were like them once upon a time, is it not? Then where have we lost this enthusiasm and innocence? Where do you think we have lost this? Swamiji, we have grown up and become more mature. We are more experienced than them. Baba, experienced at what? Boredom. See, be very clear. We all think that we are more mature than children and that we have the right attitude towards life, while children need to go through life and acquire this maturity. The truth is, We have become so intellectual that we have lost our connection with our heart. We operate purely from our minds. Even our emotions are dictated by our minds. We have stopped emoting from our being. We have lost touch with our inner core. When we arrived in this world, we were in a state of celebration and spontaneity. Over the years, society conditioned us and created the mind for us. The mind then solidified itself and started dictating terms to us. The spontaneity in us has got lost. Let me tell you, in this whole process of shedding our ego, we are trying to rediscover the child in us. When we were young, we were closer to realizing God. As we grew and became so-called mature, our social conditioning simply marred the child in us. So many people ask me, Swamiji, how is it that although you speak on the ultimate truth, you appear to be so childlike? Now you tell me, am I childlike because I have not grown up and become mature? You simply interpret things in your own convenient ways, in your own philosophical ways. That is the problem. But for societal conditioning, we have the ability to swim and fly without any training. It may sound absurd to you, but it is true. We have these abilities in us. We can swim and fly until people start telling us that we are not capable of swimming and flying. If you place a newborn baby in a swimming pool, it will stay afloat without drowning. The ego manifests itself in so many ways, and we live according to it every minute of our lives. We all actually use masks in our day-to-day lives. We use one mask when we deal with our mother. We use a different mask when we deal with our father. We use a different one for our boss, and so on. As long as we use the right mask with the right persons, it is all right. The moment we use the wrong mask with a person, it means that your ego has stepped in. All you have to do is switch masks efficiently and enjoy the show. Then you are a watcher and not involved in the game as a solid entity. You can enjoy only when you know that you are something beyond the mask. Else you will get carried away by the mask and lose the whole charm of life. When you know that you are only using masks, your desires drop. It is like this. When you grow up, you automatically drop your toys, is it not? The toys don't interest you anymore. In the same way, when you look at these masks intelligently, you don't have any desire for them. You simply use them and keep moving. Ego manifests itself in many cunning ways. That is why all these explanations are needed on it. All these will help you see where you are standing as a blockage in your own journey inwards. The lesser blockages you have inside, the more fluid and flowing you become. When you have lesser blocks, you are more porous and vulnerable. When you have many blocks, you are solid and difficult to penetrate. Your ego poses such a solid barrier to everything. For example, whenever someone says something to you, what is your first reaction to it? Your first reaction is a certain resistance, a no. When you say no, it is so ego-fulfilling. You feel solid and firm inside yourself. When you say yes, you feel liquid and vulnerable. Your ego feels submissive, so you say no. This is also why you feel good when you break rules at home or school or workplace or anywhere. Actually, the moment you defy a rule, you'll have a great feeling about yourself. School and college students feel good when they cut classes. Why? Because they feel boosted in their ego when they say no to the rules. With small children, the moment you say that they are not meant to have certain things, they will ask only for that. Grown-ups also enjoy defying each other in so many ways. Husband and wife rarely concur in the first instance of any suggestion. Take for example our own devotees. If the husband gets attached to me first, the wife's first reaction will be only resistance to me. She might even read my books secretly and like them, but in front of the husband, she will not be willing to embrace me. The same holds good for the wives who get attached to me first. Their husbands will do all that they can do to make it difficult for them before finally falling in tune with me. Such is the play of ego. Saying yes keeps you flowing naturally in a liquid state with no blocks. This does not mean that you should blindly say yes to everything. No, it means take a decision trusting your spontaneity without the influence of your ego, that's all. Automatically you will fall in tune with the right things. Understand that saying no is not a cautious move or any protective force that is going to be your guardian angel. Just be open without resistance and preconceptions. That is enough. But Swamiji, I was thinking till now that claiming self-importance is the only manifestation of ego. No. Ego comes in various forms, active and passive, which we have been discussing till now. That is why it is such a tricky element to discern. The active ego is easy to recognize. People with active ego will behave in a high-handed fashion. They will claim self-importance openly. They will not bend down to people. They will be haughty. This ego is actually easy to deal with for a master. He just needs to bang on it a few times and it will break. A small story. One man lost all his wealth in gambling and got reduced to almost a pauper. One day he went to a roadside hotel and sat at the table for breakfast. The waiter came to take orders. The man was surprised. The waiter was his old friend who had been as rich as he had been earlier. He looked at him and said, "You serve as a waiter in this sort of a hotel?" The man replied, "I'm only a waiter. I don't eat here." Active ego is very easy to recognize. A person with an active ego will not be willing to let go of it even if all his other defenses like money, wealth, etc. are taken away from him. Active ego can be easily pruned. But passive ego is very subtle and cunning. People who have passive ego will pose to be very humble, lacking courage to face people, shying away from taking credit, etc. The worst part of this is they think they are like this because they are not egoistic. The truth is they are more egoistic than the other lot. They are so carefully guarding their ego from getting hurt by doing all these humble things. When you are in deep awareness and understanding, you will be a mere watcher of your ego. And in this state, you will be automatically neither humble nor egoistic. You will neither take credit nor shy away from it. And you will not even think or claim that you are neither of these. You simply will be, that's all. When anyone appreciates you or gives you credit, you will simply resonate with existence and leave it at that, that's all. And there will be no need for any comparison or claim. So be very clear. Most often people think that active ego is the only kind of ego ever present. No, there is something called passive ego, which is what we just discussed, and this is more difficult to deal with. People with active ego are like a dried and hard twig. They can be broken easily. People with passive ego are like a fresh and green twig. Each time their ego is hit, they bend but don't break. Their ego is so well safeguarded that it becomes difficult to deal with it. Actually, they work very hard to safeguard it, but in a sweet and passive way. Passive ego is more dangerous than active ego. For example, you are now with me in this class. So many questions must be arising in you. But do you spontaneously voice all of them? No. You manipulate them inside yourself and finally repress them. You manipulate because you fear that you will appear foolish asking questions. You don't want to appear foolish and so you don't ask. You are shielding your ego. If your questions dissolve in my presence, it is a different matter. But it is not the case here. You care so much for others' reactions and opinions towards you. You cannot bear to suffer a dent on your ego that you have nurtured so carefully all these years. This ego is your very anchor point. If that is jolted, you will feel anchorless. So under the pretext of being submissive, you keep quiet. You miss one more opportunity of exposing your ego in the Master's presence. You miss one more opportunity in taking a step towards flowering. Let me tell you one thing. All questions are foolish at the end of the day. Don't for a moment think that some questions and therefore some questioners are wiser than the rest. When deep understanding happens, the questions will dissolve on their own. This is real wisdom. Anyhow, we all play so cautiously to safeguard our ego. There is one more play of ego which we all nurture so well, what is called the social ego. What is social ego? You feel that your life is highly private to yourself and that no one should be let into it. For example, people come to me to discuss their child's erratic ways, but they are not comfortable when there are others around. You don't want others to know about these things because you have this built-up image in the eyes of society for yourself and your family members. If you let people in on your family matters, you feel like you are exposing your whole self to them. You are afraid that your whole image might come down crashing and that there will be nothing else to prop you up in society. This is social ego. The image that you have so painstakingly built, the image which has become the identity with which you identify yourself in society, is at stake. It is more of an identity for yourself than for others. If you can show yourself and your family just as you are, you'll be more relaxed because then there will be no pressure to cover up anything. Of course, you might say, Swamiji, the only reason we want to keep these things a secret is we don't want people to start gossiping about it. Let me tell you, no one is qualified to talk about another. If they talk, they are fools. Remember this, and automatically the power you give to them and their talk will simply disappear. It is you who has given them the power to affect you, is it not? Now that power will disappear. Just decide and live like an open book, that's all. By seeing your courage and body language, people will automatically understand that it is not going to help gossiping about you. I tell you, to drop your social ego and live without any privacy is a great liberation. Because of our social ego, we are all the time so self-conscious. We are self-conscious because we think that people are looking and talking about us all the time. Be very clear. When you are self-conscious, you are very egoistic. You think that you are a big entity and that everyone else's eyes are on you all the time. This is why you get self-conscious. If you thought that you were a nobody, would you be self-conscious? Only because you think you are a somebody, you are self-conscious. And on top of it, you think that you are exhibiting humility by being self-conscious. This is actually something that you don't know that you are suffering from. You don't even know you are suffering from this. You simply continue to think that you are only being modest and humble, and you continue being like that. When you become self-conscious, you are living and yet not living. It is like a barrier to your beauty and grace. Your beauty does not come forth freely because of this. Look at animals and nature. They flow so beautifully and freely. Why is it so? Because they are not self-conscious. They are simply happy just being one with existence. The moment you start thinking that people are watching you, ego has stepped in and you lose your natural self. Children are not as self-conscious as adults are. If you watch them play, you will see there will be so much of beauty and innocence in the whole thing. Even when you take pictures of yourself and others, you will notice that pictures taken without you being aware that you're being photographed look much better than the ones taken when you're asked to pose for the camera. The moment you are asked to pose, you become self-conscious. Your ego is afraid as to what people might say and dent it. The self-conscious ego is all the time calculating the pros and cons in everything. It is all the time weighing others' eyes and opinions and losing out on its own freedom. Even in our meditation classes, if you see, I tell you to tie your eyes with the eye bands before starting the meditation techniques. But what do you do first? You first see if the other people are tying their eyes properly. You are so self-conscious even inside the meditation hall. Some of you don't do the meditation properly because you are self-conscious of the volunteers and myself who have our eyes open. You simply do the meditation in a restrained fashion and end up losing the very purpose of having come to the meditation camp. When you stop calculating and start being innocent and open, you will be filled with wonder and freshness all the time. Life will never become dull and restrained for you. And one more thing, the innocent person never does any harm to anyone, because to do harm, you need to calculate. Even if they do harm unknowingly, people will not get hurt because they know that they didn't really mean it. Their very body language will speak out their innocence and stand by them. All right. Now let us move to another important form of ego, the ego that comes with knowledge. As you grow, you collect judgments about people through your interaction and data from scriptures and books. These two together make up your whole mental setup. Anything that you see through this mental setup. Anything that you see becomes merely a supportive argument to your already formed conclusions. You are almost like a corpse. There is no scope for any growth in you. You are all the time looking through a glass of a particular color, a color that you have painted. You can't imagine how much you are missing out in this wonder-filled world because of this. A small story. A man was telling his friend, "Do you know, I really made a fool of myself." The friend asked, "Why? What happened?" The man said, "I replaced 10 cracked windows in my house and then discovered that I had a crack in my glasses." If we just look inward for one moment, we will understand that we are the common factor in all that we see. But we never want to look in. We feel that we know everything, and there starts the problem. Mundane knowledge simply doesn't give us a chance to evolve. The most dangerous thing in this is, you feel you are solidified with your knowledge. You feel you have become a solid character by virtue of your knowledge. Little do you know that you have become a burden on your being and nothing else. Your being is a river, and you have made it stagnate with the so-called knowledge. Real knowledge is in knowing how to drop the knowledge that comes your way and live like a child, flowing with spontaneity. You need to move from ego to spontaneity. We are all ready to categorize and label all that we see in our lives. In the event, we simply rob life of its spontaneity. We categorize people, we categorize places, situations, everything that comes our way. A small story. A man once went to a movie theater to watch a film. The film started with the caption of a famous international studio which had produced that film. The man said to himself, "Oh, I've seen this movie before," and he got up and walked away. Every movie of that production comes with the stamp of that particular studio, and the man concluded upon seeing it that he had seen the movie before. He simply missed, that's all. This is how we all are. Adults especially. Children are not like that. They see everything with a freshness. They are so full of life. They are not dead like adults. When you go to the beach, just watch the children. How excited they are. Whereas when you go to the beach, you feel you know the beach already. Even the incomparable freshness and beauty of nature comes through your tinted eyeglass. You are not able to drop the glass you are holding. The beach simply becomes yet another place for you to reinforce your so-called knowledge. Let me tell you, if at all you feel you are not enjoying life, it is because of your mind, because of your solid ego, not because life is not beautiful. A man went to Switzerland for a holiday and he returned after a month. He met his friend one evening and decided to go out for a meal. The friend asked him, "So did you enjoy the beautiful scenery in Switzerland?" The man replied, "Yes, kind of. But the mountains kept coming in the way." We are so insensitive. We are so far away from nature. There is so much of beauty around us, but we are incapable of enjoying it, and we complain that there is nothing to enjoy. The capacity to enjoy is within you. Don't blame anything outside for it. As a child, you enjoyed everything around you. What happened after that? You became serious and forgot how to enjoy. You got dulled by your so-called knowledge. As I told you earlier, people often ask me, "Swamiji, how is it that with all your knowledge, you seem like a child? Every time you crack a joke, you laugh so spontaneously, and we look at you with awe. When you start telling a joke, sometimes we've heard you say it before and so we don't laugh. But you enjoy it as much as if someone were telling you the joke for the first time." You see, this is exactly what I mean when I say you've lost your spontaneity and capacity to enjoy. You acquire a know-all attitude with all your knowledge. Now that I've told you this, let me tell you a story that I repeat very often in my talks and which makes me laugh even now. In the villages in Tamil Nadu, during the yearly temple festivals, there will be a temporary stage constructed in the open, where famous drama troupes will enact plays, mostly scenes from great Hindu epics like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. I used to go and watch those dramas. On one such occasion, they were enacting the scene from Mahabharata, where Draupadi is disrobed by Duryodhana and she is ultimately saved by Lord Krishna. The Draupadi character was played by a man dressed in a sari. As per the plan, he would wear 7 saris, one on top of the other, and Duryodhana would pull them out one after the other, keeping account. When the 7th sari is reached, Draupadi would scream to Lord Krishna for help and Krishna would appear. Somehow, the Draupadi character missed out 1 sari while getting dressed and wore only 6 saris. On stage, Duryodhana started pulling, and suddenly, when the 6th sari was being pulled, Draupadi realized the mistake. He started screaming, hey, leave it, to Duryodhana. Duryodhana thought that Draupadi was playing her role so beautifully and continued to pull. Finally, Draupadi was standing on the stage with just half trousers and a blouse with the makeup of a woman. But he had good presence of mind and he screamed, "Oh Krishna, how gracious you are! You changed my gender to save me from shame." Even now, if I think of that scene, I can't stop laughing. So understand, knowledge is all right, but don't use it to solidify yourself. Your inherent nature is river-like, flowing. Spontaneity is your nature. You have moved away from it with the help of so-called knowledge. If you live innocently, a whole new world will open up for you. Just encounter every moment with openness. Don't have any preconceived notions. If you live like this, nothing will be mundane to you. You will then see that even your own wife, whom you have been living with every day, is so fresh and enjoyable. When this becomes your attitude, there is every possibility that the other person feels the openness in you and opens out to you in more enjoyable ways. It then becomes a positive cycle where you move from freshness to freshness every moment. Then there is only freshness everywhere. Nothing is stale. When you live with ego, you need some paraphernalia, some support, some people around you all the time. This support is what gives you your identity. Without that, you are a nobody. A king is a king only when he has his kingdom. On the other hand, a paramahamsa is a man who needs nothing and sleeps when he stretches his leg and eats when he stretches his hand. He simply follows the flow of existence. He is a realized soul and a king unto himself. He needs no kingdom. But when you become a paramahamsa, a great kingdom will automatically form around you. But you will be neither touched nor tainted by it. Only the weak ones create a kingdom for themselves and derive their support and strength from it. Only the weak need the status to support them, their ego to support them. For a paramahamsa, his state will do everything for him. He will be untouched by the status that surrounds him. You search for paraphernalia because you feel life is too empty and mundane otherwise. And you feel life is mundane because you're searching for miracles all the time. The greatest miracles of existence are happening every moment in front of your eyes. But you are so preoccupied with your ego that you are missing it. Your own body is a miracle. It is greater than any supercomputer that can ever be invented. The millions of cells and the thousands of synchronized activities that happen in your body is the greatest miracle on planet Earth. If you know how to drop your mind and live in tune with existence, you will understand that what you search for in the name of miracles is nothing but the natural synchronous events that happen in existence. Your ego simply makes these things look ordinary, that's all. Your knowledge always dissects and analyzes and reduces things to mundane logic. Yes, you have a question? Swamiji, why is it that we know, but we still take on these things upon ourselves? That is a nice question. When we have the choice to live happily, why do we choose suffering? You see, you don't know yourself, your being, which is actually your real identity. Over time, you start relating with the outer world and create a pseudo-identity for yourself. With this pseudo-identity, you can relate with the outer world. The pseudo-identity is your ego. It is purely made up of the labels that others paste on you. You don't know who you really are. Suppose I ask you who you are. What will you say? You will say, I am the father of so-and-so, or I am the sister of so-and-so, or I am a doctor, etc. But what are all these? These are only your relationships and professions. You are daughter to your father, wife to your husband, mother to your children, and so on. You are all these to the people around you. Then what are you to yourself? You currently exist only in relationships and profession. Your ego is built up on this. Your identity is only through this. That is why there is always a danger of losing your identity. It is a man-made fragile thing, so it may break at any time. That is why you need to work so hard in maintaining it. Your inherent nature is actually being alone. When you were in your mother's womb, you were alone. You are actually enough unto yourself. This is your individuality. Over time, this individuality is taken over by what you call personality. Individuality is natural. Personality is societal. It is like this. A parcel moves from one place to another, and at every place, it starts getting stamped with various details. The parcel is actually not these stamps, but the stuff inside, is it not? In the same way, you are not the stamps that people put on you. You are the stuff inside yourself. Anyhow, with time, your ego is built on these stamps, and you need more and more people to feed it. That is why you will observe that you are totally unable to be alone, to be with yourself. When you are with yourself, you don't hear the voices of others feeding your ego. Your ego feels unfed. What do? You at least turn on the television and watch. A small story. A man belonging to a long-standing political party was dying. His friends came to know that he had switched his loyalties to the opposition party at the time of his impending death. They were astonished and asked him why he did that. The man replied, "Oh, I'd rather one of them die." So strong is our pseudo-identification. It has become such a solid reality to us, and it blinds us from seeing anything else. Even at the time of death, we find it difficult to drop our prestige. We live and die unconsciously. The fear of losing your personality, which is your only anchor point, causes you to behave in the ways that you behave. That is why we say your ego is playing up. The whole of spirituality is all about losing this personality, the pseudo-identification. This can happen when you start watching instead of being involved and believing. When you start watching, you will understand that you are the stuff inside the parcel and not the names and labels given to the parcel. When this awareness comes to you, you need no lecture, no sermon, no teaching or preaching. Yes? Swamiji, if we surrender to our Master, will our ego be taken care of? First of all, if you really surrender, you will become enlightened. There is no question of when I surrender, etc. But anyhow, for argument's sake, if you decide to allow me to penetrate you, I will prune your ego and keep it like a bonsai tree until such time you totally lose it and become enlightened. You will have enough ego to run your business and do your daily activities, not to hurt other people and yourself. Your ego will be like roasted seeds that do not grow anymore. Understand one thing. A man who is not yet enlightened has ego in him in some form or the other. Whether you have active ego or passive ego, the more you start being the observer, the more your ego will dissolve. That's enough understanding for now. With ordinary people, you can easily shield your ego and get away with it. With a master, you can never deceive him. You can only deceive yourself into thinking that you have deceived him. However deeply hidden and well covered you keep your ego and cunningness, they will be simply bare under the master's gaze. While you struggle to shield it, the master tries to heal it. Only he knows what a cancerous disease ego is. Let me tell you a few things from the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita was Lord Krishna's teaching to the world. When the Bhagavad Gita starts, Arjuna is confused. He says, "O Lord, I don't know what to do in life, please guide me." Krishna explains to him the Sankhya Yoga, the way to reach the soul. He then explains the Karma Yoga, then the Bhakti Yoga, then the Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, then the Raja Vidya Yoga, and so on. He explains different meditation techniques through 700 verses in 18 chapters. At the end of it, Arjuna says, "Krishna, I am more confused than what I was when you started explaining. Which technique do I follow? Which is the technique that is better and quicker? Which is the shortcut method, the ultimate technique?" Krishna replies to this in the concluding 18th chapter. With any master, the words that he concludes with are the final, firm and ultimate truth. Krishna says, "Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha." This line that he has said is such that if we imagine all the religions, philosophies and spiritual books to be a pot of milk, this is the butter extracted from it all. He says, "I have explained all the forms of justice to you. Simply surrender everything to me. Surrender to me and I will take care of you. I will free you from all your sins and lift you to liberation." Krishna is actually making a beautiful promise in this stanza. Through this stanza, Krishna shows the world that surrender is the final, firm and ultimate technique, the shortcut to the egoless state, to liberation. Another beautiful story about Krishna and Arjuna. One evening, Lord Krishna and Arjuna were spending time together. Krishna suddenly pointed out to a crow and said, "Arjuna, look at that green crow." Arjuna saw in that direction and said, "Yes, Krishna, I see it." A few minutes later, Krishna exclaimed, "Arjuna, see that black crow." Arjuna said, "Yes, Krishna, I see it." Krishna asked just to test Arjuna, "Arjuna, how idiotic you are. There is no green crow ever. How could you have seen it in the first place?" So Arjuna replied, "Krishna, when you said it was a green crow, I saw it as a green crow." Arjuna's very senses had surrendered to Krishna. Surrendering the senses to the master is the most difficult surrender ever. The Master is existence itself. He is the formless in form. When your senses perceive only what the Master says, you have reached the highest point in surrender. What is surrender? The word surrender has a very deep meaning. If you don't understand it correctly, we will misunderstand it. We'll be committing a grave mistake. We'll be misunderstanding deep truths. A small story. One night, 2 drunkards were walking down a street past a halogen lamp. One of them saw it and exclaimed, "Look, the sun has come down for us." The other replied, "No, it is night time. It is the moon." The first one continued, "It is yellow in color and therefore it is the sun." A third man who was drunk walked past them. They asked him, "Sir, please tell us whether this is the sun or the moon." The man replied, "I am new to this neighborhood. I do not know." So when you ask someone who does not know, you will either not get an answer or get the wrong answer. Only those who have experienced can explain clearly. If you ask the meaning of surrender to a person who has not experienced it, he will just say, "Give everything to God, that's all." That is not surrender. One man came to me and asked me, "If I surrender everything to God, will everything be all right, Swamiji?" I replied, "Yes, if you truly surrender everything to God, everything will be all right." He returned after 3 days and told me, "Swamiji, I have surrendered everything to God." I was happy and I asked him, "Where are you going now?" He replied, "To the bar." And he continued, "Whatever I do, Swamiji, God is only responsible from now on." This is actually a method of fooling oneself. If he has really surrendered, he would have surrendered the drinking habit also. He would not have even been able to drink any further. Ramakrishna beautifully says, when real surrender comes from your heart, God will guide you in every step of your life and you can never do wrong. When surrender does not blossom from inside you and is only at the lip level, you will fool yourself and others. Surrender will keep you thinking of existence all the time. You will slowly lose your own identity, your ego. In the Bhagavatam, there is a verse wherein a gopi says of herself, "I am not able to think of anything other than Krishna. I have surrendered my mind to Him. If I have to think of anything else, I will have to take my mind back from Him. How can I?" Ramakrishna Paramahamsa suffered from cancer during his last days. He had healed many people of many diseases. Someone asked him, "Why can't you keep your mind on your own disease for a moment and heal it?" He replied, "I have surrendered my mind to the infinite energy. How can I take it back to keep it on my disease?" This is true surrender. The cosmic energy will take care of us. You might ask, will this cosmic energy take care of all my problems if I surrender? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna beautifully answers, or rather promises, "Without any other thought, when a man thinks only of me, I will take care of his gifts as well as retention or enjoying of them. For those who surrender with commitment to me, I will take care of their income as well as their prosperity. Their problems will dissolve." Commitment and maturity of mind are needed for real surrender to happen. You need not surrender to God or any master. You can surrender to anything. Surrender itself is a virtue and has a great power in itself. When you surrender, you are acknowledging that there is a life force greater than your ego, that's all. Actually, God is only an excuse for you to surrender. The act of surrendering is what is important. God is not the goal. Surrender is the real goal. When you surrender, or when you lose your ego, you are no longer a separate entity from existence. You merge with existence or God. You will then understand that there is no God sitting above. There is only existence that fills everything in this universe of which you are a part. A small story. A man decided that he was going to surrender, but did not know whom to surrender to. He decided that he would go to the forest and surrender to the first person who comes his way. He went and waited in the forest. The first person to appear was a burglar who was escaping from policemen who were chasing him. The man caught his feet and declared that the burglar was his guru and that he had surrendered to him. The burglar was perplexed and did not know what to do. He replied hastily, "All right, if it is so, then close your eyes and remain here till I come back." And he ran away. The man was a very committed person, and he remained there without food or sleep for a very long time. Just by seeing his commitment, the Lord appeared before him and embraced him and gave him liberation. It is not important whom you surrender to. It is the thought of total surrender that has the power to change your life into a blissful one. When you surrender, you become a possessor of the inexhaustible energy that is existence, and you can carry on with anything that comes your way. You become strong and unshakable, come what may. People around you will find you to be a pillar of strength. They will be able to feel the invisible hand of existence through you. If you have not surrendered, it means that your ego is still holding you back from merging into the infinite, and you automatically become finite in your resources and energy. A master is a device to help you surrender. Surrender does not mean that you are dependent on someone. It simply means that you are taking their help in dissolving your own ego. Yes? Swamiji, can you please tell us more about meditation and how it can help in losing our ego? Yes. Let me first tell you how and why meditation techniques came into being. Man, ever since his creation, has wondered and researched on what it is that created this beautiful universe. What is it that created this beautiful earth and rolled it into space? And what is it that makes the rivers flow and the mountains grow? He concluded that there is a force or energy that is conducting all this. He concluded that there was some tremendous existential energy that is running the whole show. He then started wondering about how to establish a connection with the energy. The first people to make this conclusion and research on it and establish a connection with this energy were the rishis or the realized souls or the enlightened masters. Once they attained, they created many ways for future generations also to realize this energy. The ways that each of them gave are the various meditation techniques and religions. Each of them realized God through a different way, through a different technique, and recorded their way independently. This is just like how scientists create research reports on their discoveries and inventions. Each rishi gave a report on his enlightenment, and this became a religion or a meditation technique. These early realized souls formed different religions to establish these ideas on the life force that is conducting this world. We call this life force as Jesus, Allah, Shiva, and so on. You don't even have to believe in any God. Atheists don't believe in any God, but they have to believe in their existence. If we believe in our own existence and search for an answer to the question, who am I? That becomes a meditation technique, and we can realize God. Anyhow, these different ways or meditation techniques become different religions over time. But what happened later? People have left this basic idea behind all the religions, and they have started fighting in the name of religion. A small story. A Tamilian, an Englishman, a North Indian and a Bengali were traveling together. They saw a lake from a distance. The Tamilian saw it from the south and called it Tannir, which is the Tamil word for water. The Englishman saw it from the west and called it water. The North Indian saw it from the north and he called it Pani. The Bengali saw it from the east and called it Jal. All four of them were referring to the same thing, that is water. But they started fighting over it, saying that what each of them was saying is the correct thing. None of the four people attempted to get into the lake and see for themselves what it exactly is. The Tamilian was holding on to what his grandfather told him. The Englishman claimed that his grandfather told him it is water. The North Indian and the Bengali were also clinging on to what their respective grandfathers told them. This is exactly what we are doing also. People who fight over religion are doing the same thing. They have to understand that from which angle the early realized souls saw, from that angle they named it. But everything is one, existence or God. Krishna and Christ mean the same. People have seen them from different angles, that's all. These four people, without getting into the lake, are arguing about what their forefathers told them. What will happen? They will only fight because each of them thinks that what their forefathers said was right. If they decided to put aside what their forefathers have said and get into the lake and see for themselves, they will understand that all their grandfathers meant the same thing. Then there will be no fight. Today, only those who have not got into the lake and had a mouthful of water are fighting. Those who are spreading terrorism in the name of religion and caste are those who have not got into the lake called spirituality and had a taste of the truth. The four people who are fighting are simply standing on the shore and fighting. So understand that the truth is expressed in various forms, that's all. Coming back to meditation. Now simply put, meditation is allowing your mind to relax, that's all. Meditation is not concentration as people make it out to be. When you concentrate, you actually try to exclude everything from your mind, which is an impossible task. Just sit for 2 minutes and try to exclude everything from your mind. You will go mad. Every single thing that you try to exclude will come back and torture you. So concentration is not meditation. Meditation is simply including everything and relaxing. When you are not concentrating on excluding anything, you can relax. Whenever you find time, just relax and be aware of everything around you. Listen with your heart to all the sounds happening around you. It may be the sounds of birds, the sound of the calendar in the breeze, the sound of the fan above you, the sound of people around you, or whatever. Just listen with an open heart. Mind you, they are all not distractions. You are flowing with them, and so they are not distractions. When you flow with them, they cease to be distractions. As you do this, you will realize that there is a certain silence, a composite core inside that is actually witnessing all this. And you will become more and more aware of that silence inside you. You will get glimpses of that silence inside you. Slowly, you will lose consciousness of your body also. You will have only awareness. You will feel yourself only through your awareness, not through your body or through your mind. Your body will not be numb, but you will be able to feel it, that's all. Only your awareness will remain. This can take you beyond your mind if done intensely. Meditation will help you realize that you are only a watcher in life. It will help you center yourself well inside your being and carry on with your outer world tasks much more efficiently and blissfully, because you will be carrying an inner silence in you that does not allow you to get distracted or perturbed by anything. If you continue doing this, you start leaving the I and mine. Your ego dissolves. Your ego is nothing but the strong feeling and identity that you have about your mind and body. Why do you think we are trying to create a worldwide movement for meditation? Meditation is the only key to global peace. When you start looking inward, you are no more distracted by the outer world distractions like power, money, vengeance, etc. All your base energies will get transformed into higher spiritual energies. The collective consciousness will undergo a shift and automatically peace will prevail. That is why I am focusing on transformation of individuals. When a set of individuals get transformed with an experiential understanding, they will in turn inspire others from their own experience, and this will continue to create a positive new mental setup in society. Unless your understanding becomes an experience, transformation is not possible. Meditation can make your understanding an experience. Meditation is the only hope for transformation of the individual and transformation of the society. When you meditate, your intelligence grows. You start getting clarity on all issues. You no more need to ask people for alternatives. You simply know, that's all. You know because you are so much in tune with your inner intelligence. You know that it cannot be wrong. You will know from your being that you are on the right track. There may be moments when the going gets tough because you are against the majority. But you will know that the outcome is going to be beautiful and liberating. All you need to do is persevere and have deep faith in your own intelligence. When you nurture yourself with meditation, your capacity will expand and you will be able to do so many things in the outer world. There will be no limit to what you can do and express. You will find yourself growing in different dimensions. Anything will come easily to you when you are functioning with your inner intelligence and not with your ego. When anything becomes tough for you, it is only because your ego is making you alienate yourself from that thing. When you lose yourself and start merging with existence, nothing will be complicated. You will simply flow. Your intelligence will automatically work for you to harness the existential energy in you. You'll start seeing yourself as a miracle person. Things which seem beyond you will suddenly become seamless. You will move from ignorance to a deep awareness. Yes, what is the question? Swamiji, when we are in deep dreamless sleep and when we are in real meditation, are we in the same no-mind state? No. When you are in deep sleep, you go to the level of the seed and come back to the state you were in before going to sleep. No growth happens in you. When you are in real meditation, you go to the level of the seed. The seed ruptures and you move on to the next higher state. That is the difference. They are two extremes. Of course, when you look from outside, extremes look alike. A madman looks like a mystic and a mystic looks like a madman. Both of them have lost their minds, but in different directions. Yes. Swamiji, how is it that you're so beautiful always? Yes, this is an interesting question. How do I appear beautiful always? You see, if it was only this form, my form that you find beautiful, that you are being pulled to, the pull will waver with time. It will waver with situations, attires and whatnot. Just think, you see me in the same attire, listen to the same songs, hear the same voice every day, and yet you are here with as much eagerness as ever. Do you think you would be able to continue like this with anyone else in your life? Understand, it is not the person, it is the presence that radiates the beauty that you feel, that pulls you. As far as you are concerned, you are a person. As far as I am concerned, I am simply a presence, that's all. The egoless presence is so powerful that it simply lures you. There are so many male models and actors who are so good looking and with a much better personality, am I right? With all of them, you might be attracted, but not with a longing from deep within, like with me. Here, the longing is from your being, because your being sees the divinity behind the form. It is the only concern of your being. The egoless presence is so ecstatic for your being. That is why you are here again and again. That is why you are again and again drawn towards me. You see, the longing to feel God is in the depths of every man, but it is not tangible to himself. When you see me, you feel a pull and you wonder what that pull is. That pull is the call of your being. But you immediately start thinking what it might be. You know only to apply your mind and reduce everything to logic. God is beyond logic. That is why you cannot explain with your logic why you feel a pull towards me. All of you simply sit here gaping at me and wondering what it is that makes you gape so much for hours together without even batting an eyelid. When the longing within is deep, this will happen. The longing is the longing to reach home. For many lives, you have tried to fulfill this longing, but have been unsuccessful. And so you come back again, you take another birth. When you feel this longing, some of you pursue it and start your journey inwards, while some of you get scared and escape. You linger in the outer circles and keep watching me, so that if anything happens, you can easily run away. I have to then cheat you and teach you and show you that you have arrived and that there is nothing more to be done except letting go of your ego. You always operate from fear because you have been taught that way. Fear is a passive form of ego. You are so afraid that you might give in, and so you maintain a distance under the guise of fear. Don't think that fear is something humbling. Fear is a very deceptive form of ego. You're so afraid to let go. You're so afraid that you might dissolve. Understand, existence is love. It is only love and nothing else. Also, existence knows you because you are a part of it. If existence doesn't know you, then who does? So there is nothing to fear about. You don't have to put on any pretensions with existence. You can just be your own ordinary self, and existence will continue to shower on you. Existence knows only to love and forgive. It does not know any other virtue. You judge existence by your own egoistic and so-called moral standards. That is the problem. That is why you start doing things like these. When you know you are a part of existence, you will feel liberated. When you think that you are separate from existence, you will fall into misery. It is such a great feeling being part of existence. Because of your ego, you feel you are different from existence. When you turn your journey inwards, you'll become increasingly aware that you are part of existence. Awareness will slowly replace ego. When awareness takes over, ego has to dissolve. There is no other way. Until awareness takes over, you will feel you are a solid entity, and then you will disconnect yourself completely from existence. Actually, the whole sky is there for you to see. But you see it through your window, just how much your elbow allows you to see, and you think that the sky inside the frame is the real sky. All such games are nothing but games of ego. Being aware of this is the first step towards getting out of it. Awareness is the master key with which you can open any lock inside yourself. That is why again and again I say, bring in awareness. Yes? Swamiji, how would you describe your concern for us? My only concern for you is to help you to flower. That is the greatest thing that I can do for you and you can do for me. I want people to realize their innate bliss, their potential energy. Right now, man thinks that he is a human being looking for a spiritual experience. He needs to understand clearly that he is a spiritual being looking for human experience. I am working on teaching him that. And the only way he can learn it is by becoming aware of the forms of ego that are making him feel that he is a human being instead of a spiritual being. When man moves from praying to becoming, he has found the key. Swamiji, how does the transformation happen when one meditates? And can you tell us more about the role of the master? When a person meditates, all his base emotions like anger, lust, jealousy, over-attachment, etc., get transformed into a higher energy. This propels him into higher realms of consciousness and awareness. Then he will not be restless like before. Transformation of energy can happen only through meditation. When this transformation happens in every individual, the whole of society gets transformed. There will be lesser violence and more global harmony. The most practical way to global peace is through transformation of the individual. With meditation and the Master's guidance, the transformation is a process that you go through to destroy all that is not you. It is a painful process that you go through with the Master because you have to let go of all the things that you held close to your heart, all the things that you thought was you. The Master will continuously show you what all you are not, and everything will start dropping. He will create situations for your suppressed feelings to surface. You just need to allow him to work on you so that he burns all the rubbish that you have accumulated over many lives. I keep telling people, if you try to run away, you are missing me one more time. Don't try to escape. I will place my hands exactly on the tumors that are hidden inside, the tumors that are your ego. Simply place your faith on me and have the courage to open up. I will then be able to heal all your tumors. Just by opening up to the Master, half your ego has left you. The rest he will take care. You just need to put out your hand. He will lift you out, that's all. When you are a sincere seeker, when you are ready for a transformation, you will open up to the Master and things will happen automatically. If you are just a window shopper, then nothing much can happen. You will just move from one master to another and not learn anything from any of them. When you meditate, meditate intensely. When intensity is there along with meditation, the transformation is bound to happen. the superconsciousness is bound to happen. Normally, we are either intense and miss the meditation, or meditate without intensity. We catch one and we miss the other. We need to catch both in order to really flower. It doesn't matter how long you meditate. How intensely you meditate is what matters. The quality of consciousness is what matters. When you make a conscious decision to turn inward, that itself will give you the intensity of meditation. Yes, what is the question? Swamiji, we are always looking to achieve something in life. Is this also a play of our ego? Yes, of course. You have come to the point. When you think that life has got a purpose and run behind the purpose, you are being egoistic. When you realize the beauty of existence and flow with it and understand that life itself is the purpose and all goals are just illusions, then you have acquired awareness. Then you are no more egoistic. A master is the one who makes you understand the purposelessness of life. When you search with a purpose, you miss reality. Because when you run behind the purpose, you miss the present. You simply miss existence. When you realize the purposelessness of life, a new consciousness starts blossoming in you. You will then understand that the diamonds that you were protecting all along are mere stones. You will understand that the things that you thought were great are mere toys. You will understand that money is not the real bliss that you are seeking. You are seeking beyond it. You will start looking at life as a great divine play of existence. You will enjoy the drama and play a role with utmost enjoyment and perfection. You will not live for goals. You will live for the sake of living and enjoying the living. See, understand that I am not saying that you should stop earning money. Without money, there is nothing that you can do in life. I am only saying enjoy living every moment and make your goals just incidental in the whole process. You must understand that the whole thing is just a drama wherein you are a player. When you get attached to goals, then you miss this whole idea. In a drama, does it make any sense to get attached to your role or to another character or to anything? No, it will straightaway seem ridiculous, is it not? In the same way, life is also a great drama, so don't get attached to it in any fashion. Just play a role and enjoy the whole show. Understand that life is not the goal but the path itself. When you have a goal, you will run. When you run, your feet will not touch the ground. And when you don't touch the ground, you miss the beauty of existence. When you run, you are literally missing the feel of existence beneath you. When you drop the goal, the emphasis will automatically be on the path. The path is meant to be enjoyed. The goal will be taken care of automatically. When you understand the purposelessness of life, you'll understand the meaning of living. Until you understand this, you live your life in an unconscious fashion. You live without a proper consciousness. You live with a solid ego that sees only goals and not the beauty of life itself. Sacrificing your whole life for the sake of the goal is not the way to live. If you live this way, once every goal is reached, you'll only repent at having wasted your whole life on insignificant things. Simply drop the goals and enjoy the path. Meditate on this teaching again and again. The truth will dawn on you sometime. One more thing, don't exclude anything from your life and never think that you are missing something in your life. Spirituality is never excluding. It is always encompassing. When you exclude anything from your life, you are missing something. Instead, integrate and include everything. You will then become whole. When you become whole, you become holy. Of course, if certain things don't interest you, then it is a different matter. You need not bother about including them in your life. Just function with awareness and keep flowing. Understand, a scientist is a man who creates a formula to reproduce something that he has discovered in the outer world for others to experience. A master is a man who creates a formula to reproduce something that he has experienced in the inner world for the others to experience. He creates a formula to reproduce the bliss that he experienced in his own consciousness for others to experience. I am now giving you a formula to realize the ultimate bliss or Nithyananda. Yes? Swamiji, how should we go about destroying our ego? First, understand clearly that you have ego in some form or the other. It may be active or passive. Then understand the different ways in which ego manifests itself. The ways we have discussed till now. All your guilt, desires, fear, humbleness, self-importance, etc. are all different forms of ego which happen in you because you feel a solid I and mine. Once you have understood this, become the watcher so that you understand that the whole of life is a drama. By doing this, you will be able to feel your solid self dissolve, your ego dissolve. When this starts happening, you'll automatically resonate with existence and see how things rearrange themselves and make life beautiful for you. Then live with the only aim of killing your ego. Don't guard it in any way. Be ever ready to kill your ego. When you are ready to kill your ego, you are ready to become liberated. Swamiji, you said that the Ajna Chakra is associated with innocence and intelligence. How would you explain innocence and intelligence? When you break free from the rigid mechanism of the mind, you become fluid, flowing like a river. Then you are intelligent. When you are able to think laterally, you are intelligent. When you are spontaneous, you are intelligent. When it is difficult to challenge you, you are intelligent. When you know that life is a drama, you are intelligent. When you understand that existence is the ultimate life force, you are intelligent. When you are aware and conscious of your inner silence, you are intelligent. When you can smile and laugh spontaneously without applying your mind to it, you are intelligent. When you radiate energy by your mere presence, you are intelligent. When you are not stuck up anywhere for a long time and not easily challenged, you are intelligent. When you can feel your ego consciously, you are intelligent. When you know that you are rich, not because of your riches, but because of your being, you are intelligent. When you recognize a master, you are intelligent. When you are ready to let go your ego to the master, you are intelligent. When you play the game of life, enjoying every moment of it, you are intelligent. A small story. 3 men were asked the same question. What would you do if you were told that you had only 10 more days to live? The first man said, I would put all my work in order, tie up all ends so that my family does not suffer after I am gone, and then I will live peacefully. The second man said, I would enjoy life to the maximum, doing all the things I have never done before. The third man said, I would consult another doctor. This is intelligence. When you can be spontaneous, instead of getting caught in the solid and familiar tracks that you have built for yourself, you are fluid and intelligent. In a hospital, the telephone rang and the nurse answered it. A voice asked, May I know how Chanda Basu of room number 10 is doing, please? The nurse replied, He is doing well and we are hoping to release him tomorrow evening. Whom am I talking to? The voice replied, This is Chanda Basu. You never tell patients anything in this place. This is intelligence. When you are not stuck at a point for long, when you don't stay challenged for long, you are intelligent. Now listen to this. A man took his city friend to his farm. He showed him around and then later asked him, You must have found it amazing to see so many sheep. Did you attempt to count them? The friend replied, Oh yes, there were 300. The man was surprised and asked, How did you manage to count them? The friend replied, Oh, it was simple. I counted the number of legs and divided them by 4. This is not intelligence. This is a way to show how we can complicate simple things in life. Next, coming to innocence. Children are the best way to understand innocence. They just speak out without any editing. They don't calculate. They are so total in their behavior, never cunning or hypocritical. This is innocence. But what do we do to them? We try our best to teach them how to edit their words, how to manipulate. We teach them to move from their heart to their mind so that their pure innocence becomes contaminated by the mind. A small story. A boy was told that a wealthy aunt was coming to his home that day and that he had to be in his best behavior. The aunt arrived and a grand dinner was served for her. The boy was watching her continuously throughout the dinner and finally he asked, Auntie, when are you going to do your trick? The lady asked, What trick, my dear? The boy replied, My dad said that you drink like a fish. Children simply talk what they feel like. They express so freely. That is why they are so joyful to watch. That is why we all enjoy them. Their innocence attracts us. But we don't understand this and we teach them to become cunning, to become manipulative. This is what we do continuously. A child went up to her grandfather and asked, Grandpa, can you really imitate a frog? The grandfather was surprised and asked, Why do you ask? The child replied, I heard my parents saying that when you croak, we'll have a small fortune left for ourselves. We are being hypocrites all the time. We never express ourselves freely. We are thinking something and talking something else. We have become so ugly because of this. We have simply lost our innocence. Children are not hypocrites. They are so natural. They are beautiful because they express themselves freely. A mother was leaving her child with her friend for a day. She told her child to remember to thank the friend before coming away that evening. The child returned home and the mother asked if she had thanked the friend. The child replied, I didn't, because when the other girl thanked her, she said, Don't mention it. This is how children are. Of course, it is our duty to teach them basic things like gratitude. But I am trying to make you understand that we should not make our children hypocrites. Let them understand the game and play it with awareness, with no ego but only awareness. Give them the basic rules and intelligence to discriminate for themselves. One thing, the innocence of the child is due to its ignorance. This innocence is bound to be there in the child because it is yet to be influenced by societal conditioning. But once the conditioning starts happening and knowledge is gained, the child loses its innocence. But the child can reconnect back with the innocence that it loses over the years through deep awareness. This innocence regained is the real innocence, because this innocence is not out of ignorance now, it is out of a deep understanding. This is the difference between the innocence of children and the innocence of masters. Mundane knowledge squashes the innocence and nurtures ego, but intelligence and awareness can put knowledge aside and bring out the innocence once again. When this happens, you have found the way. Swamiji, how should we relate with God? God is not any separate entity for you to relate with Him. Understand that first. He is not sitting above in a place called heaven and waiting for you to relate with Him. He is there in each and everything in this universe. Everything has been created by Him. He is the creator, creation, and the created. He is the experiencer, the experienced, and the experience. God is the name that we have given to existence, that's all. When you understand this, you have started experiencing God. Then there is no question of relating to God. People ask me if I feel close to God. I tell them that I am God. I tell them that they are also God. But of course they are not willing to accept it. They want to know how to get close to God. Close itself means there is some small distance separating you and God. I am telling you that you are God. Then where is the question of close? Do you understand what I am trying to say? It is very simple. God is nothing but the name that you have given to existence, and you are a part of existence. When you live in tune with existence, when you have found your connection with existence, you are God, that's all. When you live with a feeling of intimacy with anything and anyone that comes your way, you become pure consciousness. When you can feel the same love towards everyone around you, irrespective of whether you know them or not, you are experiencing the God in you. This is a simple scale to tell you how far away you are from God consciousness. When you start falling in tune with existence, you will start hearing the inner voice in you. Then no other guide is needed. You don't need people to tell you what to do and what not to do. You will simply know. Your intelligence will keep guiding you. You will flow without feeling the heaviness of having to make decisions. A master is one who can awaken that inner voice in you. He works on you to awaken your intelligence. Most of us can love only with a reason. This is how strong our ego is. When you are like this, be very clear. You are very far away from God. We claim that we shower love on our family and friends. Just look at all the masters who have happened on planet Earth till now. What is the common quality that have drawn them to their mission? Pure love, that's all. If they experienced the ordinary love that you feel in your day-to-day lives, do you think they would have been able to set up their mission? Is it possible to set up a worldwide mission with just ordinary love? How much of drive would ordinary love give? In fact, it will make you tired very soon. If masters have time and again reached out to people across the world, transforming lives, it is because of the divine love and oneness that they feel with every single human being on planet Earth. In fact, if you read their biographies, you will see that almost all of them have put their family aside. They have incurred the wrath of their family, and they have gone about reaching out to people. Family always resists in these cases. Of course, once maturity and awareness come in, they start accepting and following like the rest of the world. Anything that makes you feel separate from God is ego. When there is ego, you cannot love consistently and with the same deep feeling all the time. your love will be highly subjective. It will keep moving between extremes. Watch the body language of masters and you will know what resonating with divine love is. The easiest way to fall in tune with the existence is by watching the master's body language. A master is in tune with the existence all the time. He exudes love all the time, irrespective of who is in front of him. When you watch his body language, you will imbibe the qualities behind it. If you watch the master over time, you will be able to perceive how he flows like a river, so beautifully, so poetically, so synchronously in tune with existence. Every action of his is in perfect synchronism with existence. That is why it is so beautiful to watch him. Simply by watching the master, you can understand and feel the beauty and flow of existence. Because a master is egoless, he flows without blockages. Because he does not have consciousness of I and mine, he flows. Because he radiates nothing but love, he heals. Healing is nothing but concentrated love. That is why time and again we have heard of the miraculous healing powers of masters. And that is why masters are looked upon as God. Be very clear, masters are the only living God. They are the supreme manifestations of the ultimate energy. So stop worrying about how to relate with God. Start falling in tune with existence and become God. Remember, you cannot conquer existence. You can only be conquered by existence. When you lose your entire ego, you are conquered, that's all. When you become a conducive womb for God, He will reside in you. In the initial stages, you are a guest and He is a host. Ultimately, you have to become the host. You have to become a womb to receive Him. Becoming a womb means melting and becoming vulnerable. Becoming vulnerable means shedding your entire ego and dissolving into God or existence. Then life becomes music and an eternal celebration. It is time now for us to enter into the meditation technique for the Ajna Chakra. We will now do a beautiful and very effective meditation technique called the Divya Netra meditation to awaken the Ajna Chakra.